I'd like to introduce you to a woman I've just gotten acquainted with, Ann Vandersteel, and she has a show on Rumble, and she and her partner in crime, if you will, have just created a movie. It's a documentary, and it's called Taken, State-Sanctioned Kidnapping. Let's just watch a little bit of the trailer that I got while, in fact, I'll put it on there as as you tell us what this movie's about. And welcome to the Adult in the Room podcast. What do you think?
Well, thank you so much for having me, by the way. It's an honor to be here with you. And I'm listening to you go on over the news. And it's, in some aspects, it's disheartening. But in the other aspect, look at where we are today. When I started podcasting 10 years ago, there wasn't that many people doing it as there is today. And the amount of information, the reality of our situation is stark, it's vast, and it's everywhere. And so what we've attempted to do with American Made Foundation, presenting our second documentary called Taken, State-Sanctioned Kidnapping, is take a deep, dark look at the underbelly and the reality of what Child Protective Services, an organization that's funded by you, the American people, through your tax dollars, directly out of the Health and Human Services Agency under Social Security, Title IV-E funding. Yes, that money flows into all 50 states, into all the various agencies that operate Child Protective Services under their moniker, and the parasitic organizations and non-governmental organizations that feed off it under the guise and the pretense that they're there to protect children and reunify families, when in fact their business model and their funding model is anything but that. It's all about separation. It's about moving the goalpost and the carrot further away from the parents' hands so they never get reunified for their with their children. And frankly, it's a profit center for the courts and for all these organizations. And it's just devastating. If you really want to make America great again, you've got to have families. You've got to have a solid nuclear family, which has been decimated by this bureaucratic, monolithic corporatocracy we call government.
Yeah, I was just, well, watch the trailer, see if it doesn't pull up a few heartstrings. Here's a little bit of it.
Great WRKO, Jeff Cooner, Boston's bulldozer. There is going to be a rally to reunite the Rivera family. Let's get the Riveras back together again. They deserve to have custody of their children.
I just got out from the jail right now, and because of losing everything in this situation, because of DCF and I guess all the parties involved, I've been living in my car while supporting my family from a distance.
Maureen Steele and I, with American Made Foundation, landed here in Marblehead, Massachusetts, where our American Navy was established hundreds of years ago. Boston, where the Tea Party erupted into a spirited battle called the American Revolution, a fight for our independence. And yet today, are we really free? Does the state have control of your assets, namely your children? Well, we are back again in Massachusetts because the fight continues on for sovereignty. And we're taking a deep look into Child Protective Services and the organization run by the state of Massachusetts known as the Department of Children and Families.
And we could go in a little bit more, but it'll suck you right in, which is why you need to watch this. I guess it's debuting this weekend, which is wonderful. Congratulations. But how did you decide to delve into this? It's clearly a problem, but how did you get into it?
Well, as a podcaster, I've had many opportunities to interview families who have been decimated by Child Protective Services, even families that were chased overseas into Switzerland. The stories are too numerous to recount, but the theme is always the same. These families get pigeoned and prosecuted without due process in a court of family law, which is a court without a jury of your peers. It's literally a black robe and DCF against you. And if you can afford an attorney, great. If you can't, you have a court appointed one. And let's just be clear. George Carlin was accurate when he says it's a big club and you ain't in it. And believe me, between the folks in that courtroom, you're not in that club. And I've witnessed it firsthand in this particular documentary on the Rivera family. Honestly, when you have a family of 7, right? 5 children and 2 loving parents, and by all accounts, there's never been a problem with the family at all. There's no legal issues, no violence, nothing like that. And you have a pediatrician who's a mandated reporter under the Department of Children and Families in Massachusetts say, well, I'm going to have to report you because you don't want to give your son a vitamin K shot. Like, show me the law In fact, Mr. Rivera asked that of his pediatrician, show me the law. And there is no law, but he decided to report him anyway. And they didn't come looking after the 9-month-old. They came and wanted to see all 5 children. And the harassment with law enforcement and DCF that pursued them in Massachusetts forced the Riveras to flee to Texas. And that's when everything went really crazy, because they never had a real reason to apprehend these children and arrest the parents, yet they did it anyway at gunpoint and separated the family then 30 days in the clink in Texas for $2.5 million bail each, while the children were farmed out into foster care. They were extradited home, and they're still in the system right now. So the reason we're doing this documentary is to show that this isn't just a one-off, Victoria. This is happening everywhere all the time. I hear about it through what our business, our foundation, American Made Foundation and American Made Action. We hear from families every single day that this is not a one-off. This is what happened to them. And so we've got to put a stop to this. We've got to stand up. The people need to be accountable to themselves. Our Constitution demands it. We, the people, are the government. And we need to tell these bureaucrats, you have no business and you have no lawful reason to be in my home. I am not putting my children in jeopardy. This is a startling statistic, and I'll land the plane here. Did you know in Massachusetts, 97% of the families who are separated from their children don't legally meet the threshold for separating children from their parents?
Oh, really? That's a shocking number.
It's despicable.
There's a word.
Yeah.
So now they're still in the system. How long has this been? Over a period of time?
This started back in October last year. And so they have been dealing with this for quite some time. We actually went and shot this documentary earlier this year in Massachusetts in the hopes that, it's been about 6 months, 8 months, something like that, in the hopes that they'd be reunified by now. Fortunately, our foundation was able to present the Riveras with new attorneys, new representation, so they're not dealing with court appointed. Izzy, who is still facing criminal charges for familial kidnapping and taking his children and wife to Texas. Oh my.
What?
Exactly. Criminal charges for familial kidnapping. It's insane what's happening here. They brought him. Of course, the wife didn't charge him with this. She didn't complain that he kidnapped her, but this is what's going on. And so it looks like this case is beginning to wrap up, but we're not. We've got this documentary exposing this, and we also are filing a monster landmark federal lawsuit in federal court in Massachusetts in the next couple of days here that is going to rock the socks of not only the judiciary, but the law enforcement. Anybody who touched this case is getting named in this lawsuit, and it's enumerated with multiple due process violations.
Okay.
And this case crossed state lines. It went to Texas, and they sent a warrant for their arrest without any probable cause. I mean, this is how insane it all is.
Is this something that maybe Harmeet Dillon, who's now in charge of the Civil Rights Division at the DOJ, would be interested in, should be apprised of?
I think she should be apprised of it. I know that we have been asked to update the First Lady, Melania Trump, the FLOTUS, absolutely, because, she's very much involved in child trafficking. And let's be clear, Child Protective Services is legalized child trafficking, as if legal fiction is even a thing, because it's not. It's fiction, and it does nothing to do with our constitutionally protected rights and common law, in which we're based on in this country. But they've thrown out the window for their U.S. codes, their statutes, and their agencies. And we've delegated authority to bureaucrats vis-a-vis our Congress, which has just thrown their Article 1, Section 8 responsibilities out the window and farmed it to these agencies, which do not, I repeat, do not have your or my best interest at heart.
No, they don't. And sometimes, I've seen how they've not done things for the homeless industrial complex and the USAID scam and all of the attendant, scandals therein. It's terrible what they've done with our money in our name. So this is frightening. I mean, it really is. So this is reminding me of what is going on in the state of California. And the state of California, there's AB 495, which is a bill being tossed out by they're thrown out, chumming the waters, and will likely get approved by the Democratic supermajority in the state of California, that would allow anyone to come and take a child out of school, take that child to a doctor for whatever reason, take that child and re-enroll that child in another school so as to keep them off the radar of the parents. This is all done without parental involvement, and it's all done in the name of helping immigrant children, i.e. people who are here illegally in the country.
Right.
And they've not done I mean, not that I think they should be able to do this for immigrant kids, but they've done it now. This would apply to all kids. So your children are not safe in the state of California if they go to grade school, high school, or well, high school, maybe even, yeah, probably. And so it's kidnapping. That is official kidnapping. And I wrote a story about it at PJ Media the other day. And one of the things is I got a comment that I think you'll be interested in. And this person said, the mental illness, this is about Temecula. I was going to dovetail this with this story that I also did for PJ Media, did the AB 495 as well as the Temecula story. And the Temecula story is that girls who don't want boys in the bathrooms and locker rooms must now sign a document. Their parents do in this case. They actually give parents the opportunity to sign this. And the document is either a religious waiver, so as not to have boys in the bathrooms and locker rooms, or they don't have to be subjected to those spaces, those shared spaces. Or they have to get a doctor's note saying that they're mentally ill. The girls do. Now, that is some kind of crazy.
It's honestly, where do you go from there except to leave the state?
That's Jack Hibbs, a pastor in California, said, if this passes, I'm not in the habit of telling my parishioners to leave the state. But if this passes, you need to leave the state because your kids are the most important thing. So on that story, I get this comment. The mental illness diagnosis also invites the state to force services on the children, including taking them away. I had a kid taken away for being depressed, and it was a battle. And then in parentheses, she adds, she texted an anonymous depression hotline, and they reported it to the police, which traced us to our house through the IP address on our router. And anytime we tried to assert our rights, we were threatened. The kid is better now and in college, but we didn't see her for at least a month during her ordeal.
You know, this all starts with the fact that, and this may be an unpopular idea with some of the folks in your audience, I don't know, but this frankly starts at birth. This starts with you engaging into and opting in to this corporate system that's called the United States government. It's no longer a republic. We haven't been operating a constitutional republic. In reality, it's been in name only. And so we find ourselves at a crossroads right now where we're engaging with a corporation that has shareholders, and the shareholders are being run by the agencies, and the agencies have their own shareholders, right? It has nothing to do with representing we the people. It has everything to do with how much money they can abscond with. And so that birth certificate, that social security number that you are excited to get because it makes your child a registered U.S. citizen, you've now essentially exchanged your God-given rights as protected by the Bill of Rights in our Constitution for the privilege of being a U.S. citizen. And when you look at the last 4 years under the Biden regime, reign of terror, that privilege of U.S. citizenship was extended to illegals that came flying across our borders at an alarming rate by the tens of millions, and that were extended $2,200 a month going up from there, including 3 hots and a cot, healthcare, education, etc. And they were weaponized. That human migration was weaponized against we the people, basically stealing and cutting in line everything that we work for. So we have to take a good look at our Constitution. We have to take a good look at these amendments that have been passed. Everything after the 10th, frankly, for me, is a robbing, and it's really a way to steal your sovereignty when you dissect it all in its entirety. I could break that down on a later date, but the point I'm making is,
I get it.
People are not understanding that the government has taken your child at birth and made it a ward of the state and stripped you of your rights. And if you step out of line and you go against an edict like Bill 495 in California, they're going to step in and say, not so fast. We're going to let anybody come in and take that child because we're really ultimately in control of your child, not you. And that in of itself should be so frightening that people should wake up. Now, I do have this caveat. I know that President Trump is supposedly going to be launching an executive order here on elections because elections have consequences, particularly stolen elections. And so, if we can actually get a real vote, a real representation of what people want in this country, and we do it through paper ballots and hand counting and eliminate the machines and clean these dirty voter rolls that are
Yeah, that'd be nice.
right. If these things can happen, we're going to get a real litmus test. And you know what? If you live in a city that is very blue and wants to be blue, good for you. Don't you want to know that you really are blue and you're not going to have a bunch of rhinos come in and steal your city and what you guys want for your city? Any more than I don't want a bunch of dinos taking my conservative town from me. So I think we have to get right down to the basics, get these elections straightened out, because California, in my humble estimation, is pretty much red, with the exception of some of the Looney Tunes in LA and San Francisco. But everywhere else, that state is shining red from sea to mountain. And it's about time that the Californians get represented as such. Otherwise, they are going to flee even more than they already have.
I know, it's really sad. I'm getting to the point where I'm getting upset with people. I keep track of Oregon, Washington, and California in my West Coast column for PJ Media, and I'm getting concerned about too many people leaving California. Not that I don't wish them ill in terms of losing congressional seats, because they have congressional seats built on, I think 5 of them built on illegal alien population. But because I think
that's your voter rolls, by the way. That's your dirty voter rolls.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Exactly. And a fraudulent census based on the fraudulent voter rolls. That's exactly what's going on.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. It's happened everywhere, up and down the coast. And so, but I want people to stand and fight. I want them to stick around. 42% of Californians voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 election. That's not nothing. I know it's for California. It's exceptional, actually. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that if you've got that many people who are willing to either cross the line, and most of them did, because the most populous political party in California is Democrat, followed by Independent. Then later on, it's Republican. So lots of party crossing there. And those people should be represented, and they're not. I mean, you get to the point where in Oregon, Washington, and California, if you've got a woke politician representing your district on any level of government, you don't even bother calling them, because they won't listen to you, because they don't feel like they have to listen to you. And it used to be, have you ever found a Republican representative where they were unwilling to listen to a constituent of the opposite political party from them? You would hear about it if that happened, but it doesn't happen. The Republicans listen to people. They may not agree with everything they say, but at least they give them an ear, and they don't even do that anymore in the Democrat Party. Not at all. Not at all.
Well, it's the uniparty. Let's be honest. It's not about Democrats and Republicans anymore. That so much. I think USAID and the amount of money and where that money's gone out and coming back, and the people that I work with through American Made Foundation, the deep researchers that have mapped the money, and I'm talking thousands and thousands of organizations across that, all tied back into child trafficking and CPS, and of course money laundering through the cartels and through the mortgage industry, and going back into the politicians, and of course the legalized bribery, which is called lobbying. All of that has taken its toll on our country. And as I said, we're operating a corporatocracy, not a constitutional republic. But I do want to leave with this. I want to give you this thought here, Victoria, because, United Sovereign Americans is an organization. I sit actually on their advisory board, and I've been following this organization for well over a year now. And they just recently asked me to join them more for the media piece that I can bring to it. So I want to give them a shout out, because here's why. This is all stemming from our rotten elections. And we now know the CIA and Smartmatic out of Venezuela, and those people have been involved in throwing elections in 72 countries over the last 20 years. 72 countries we've rigged and done color revolutions, and now we perfected it and brought it here in this country.
We did.
United Sovereign Americans they have over 10,000 volunteers, and they have the data on how they have stolen these elections using these dirty voter rolls and the manipulation of these machines, including what went on in Serbia and working with Dominion. All this stuff is in evidence right now. And it's before Tulsi Gabbard at DNI. So this isn't a conspiracy or allegations. It's evidence is now in front of the government, and they're looking at it.
The real
government, the government that cares about our elections and understands our election systems are national security, should be matters of national security.
Well,
so here's the thing. United Sovereign Americans, they filed lawsuits in 9 different federal districts Some they won, some they lost. But here at this point where they are right now is showing a true conflict in the civil rights litigation, because when
Oh,
you
okay.
have 30 voter rolls, that
Sure.
means there's a bad vote, either illegal, a dead guy, a phantom voter, whatever that's in there
Mhm.
that's canceling a good vote. It could be a good R vote or a good D vote. It doesn't matter, but it's canceling votes because you've got people that shouldn't be voting.
That's
And
right.
that's a civil rights litigation piece that's going to the Supreme Court. And that's the only way you're going to actually get these voter rolls cleaned up, if you want to do it expeditiously, which is why President Trump, with the executive order of hand counted ballots and paper ballots, and only printing ballots based on how many people live and vote and registered in that precinct, is going to eliminate 99% of the fraud. And believe me, we'll be looking for the other 1% that are going to try it, which is why you're already seeing Nadler and Jody Ernst, and I'm sure others will follow suit. Oh, I'm not running for election again. Why? Because they couldn't win in the first place.
Well, that's interesting. I'd
Mm.
never. Well, I guess I like Joni Ernst. I mean, she's a bit of a rhino. I mean, I gotcha.
She's a
But
rhino. There's a lot. Lisa Murkowski. There's a lot of them that
oh,
need to go.
Lisa Murkowski.
Susan Collins. I mean, the list goes on. Dan Crenshaw. I could go on and
It
on.
would be nice to finally get a vote that reflects the actual populace.
Right.
Be nice. Wouldn't that be a switcheroo?
I think
Well,
it's going to be a shocker.
well, they'll say it's stolen. So it's going to be so off brand. They won't know what to do except to say
That's
it was
okay.
stolen.
I think some of the best things come off brand. I mean, I'm all about the generics. Why pay good money for full brand when you can go get the same thing for, generic whatever. Anyhow, to each his own. But I want to know. I want to get a true idea of how this country leans one way or the other. Are we really here to have freedom? Are we really here to save our republic and live by the law of the Constitution? Do we really even know what that means? And
Mhm.
can we exercise it? Or are we going to continue to devolve into communism? We're clearly in socialism, and we're facing a totalitarian authority called the New World Order vis-a-vis the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, which really don't care about America. They care about the world, and we are in the way. And our Second Amendment has done a lot to protect us, which is why it's always under attack.
Right.
But the New World Order is literally after the entire world, and America's in the way. And so they're going for it.
Ooh, USAID put a big dent in it, and I was very happy to see that, but it's not
Yep.
enough. Ann
That's
Vandersteel, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, and I would love to visit with you again soon. Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing out there. It's sorely, sorely needed.
Thank you. Appreciate it.